Hello, I am Sanchez Mosiganaho. In this video, I want to show you how you can use DClass, a new software I developed to handle camera trap data as easily as possible. With this software, you can process your camera trap data by detection, multiple detection, a classification, multiple classification, and you can also get a report of your process and complete your analysis externally. So the first thing you need is to process the software installation. To do that, you go to this address, you choose a browser of your favorite browser, and you go to this address, github.com/stanganako/dclass. I leave the link in the description section. You go to this address and you choose the operating system you are using. Currently, me, I am using Windows. I am on Windows. So you go to Windows installation. You have two options to install the software. Either you run the executable file. So to use this first option, you need to download the software, the zip file here, clicking on this link. And you download. Once the download is finished, you can unzip this file and launch directly the executable file. The second option consists of installation from source. This means that you need all this file you are seeing here, all these resources to run or to launch the software like me. But to do that, there are some dependencies you need to do before to be able to do that. I provide some instruction to do that, but unfortunately in this video I cannot cover all this because the video will become very long. But if you try, you prefer on one of these options, or you are on another operating system and you want to install the software and you encounter any issues, please come just in the issues section and you let me know what's wrong back, and I will try to see how I can help you. Me, I have already the zip file on my locally. So what we need to do is to just unzip this file. Here you can see I have the file already downloaded. So we just need to unzip this. Let's start here. Once the extraction is done, you can see this folder, the class. You go inside and you can see two files. One file, the class.exe, and internal. I will not cover anything in this folder. So what we need to do here is just to launch this application, double clicking on this executable file. This is the interface of the class. So we can start now by using do some manipulation. Let me maximize the size. Now currently we have three menu file. Here we can import file. We will see in the next step how we can use this option to leave the application. Setting, here we have inference parameters and appearance. Inference parameters is very important. I will show you how you can use and why we need some option depending on our task or the task you want to run. Here we have model. Model is here we want to precise the different model we want to use. Model here is the computer vision model design or developed to process to classification and detection. If I click, for example, on show model, you can see this message let me know that there is no model available for use. Now what we can do is to add our models. To do that, I already get some model available. Let me come here. For example, here you can see there are a lot of model available for detection and for classification. Firstly, we use one or two of these models for detection and also try some of available model for classification. Here you can see, for example, we have Mega Detector 5B beta version, alpha version. We have also a Europe Difona model for detection, and we have last version of Mega Detector, version 6 beta. that is not already released publicly, but me, I have accessed this and I already implement in the class, and we can use this model. If you use any of these model in your project, please try to cite correctly. I provide also link to each of these model for citation, for download, and for information and more. So me, I have already some of this model available for use, but you, if you install the class and you want to use of any of these model, please come here and download your preference or your need model. I also leave this link in description section of this video. Let me come back here. So what we need to do is to add a model. You click just on this option, add model, and you browse. Me, I have the model here. Let me browse to select one. Yeah, here you can see me, I have all these model. For example, I can use Mega Detector version 5 beta. Okay, I click on add, and you can see I see this message with Mega Detector added. It's just a message to let me know that the add is done successfully. If I come back again here and click on show model, you can back that I have this table that list that give me some information about my model: ID, weight, that is the name of the model, and path that can bring me to the model, and the size of the model. Note that Mega Detector 5 is a little big, as you can remark here. Add date, current date for the model adding, and I can also make some action. For example, delete the model from my detection or my model table here. So I close. Next, what we need to do is to set some setting for our task detection or classification. I come here in settings menu and I click on inference parameters. Here, let me resize a little bit. Yeah. Now we have here detection confidence threshold. This means the value of the probability about which you want to get or want to keep a detection. If a detection threshold is less than this, we will not consider this result in our output. Same thing for classification. If the classification output has a detection or a threshold less than this value, by default me I put 0.55, but you can edit as you need. We will see how what can happen if we edit this value, the result, how the result can change. So the classification you can leave also by default as you can edit. This image size we want to provide to our model as input. By default you can leave on this a value. The first value means the weight of the image, and this means the height of our image. Here we have the maximum detection. This is the number of detection result you want to have on an image. By default is 300. Here is the object of interest. Object of interest, either we want to detect animal, person, or vehicle on our image. By default I also put this on animal. Here we have a frame stride. Frame stride is the number of images you want to Skype during video processing. But note that at present the class does not support video processing. I just put this for future implementation. Here we have device. Device is the capacity of computation of our computer. Me, I am currently on a computer that has only a CPU device. Here, let me Skype this. Here we have run on main directory. That is very important. It helps us to process on a single directory or folder or multiple folder. I will show you how we can use this option for a given task or in a given context. Don't worry. Here we have task. Either we want to process to detection or classification. If you proceed here the task you want to execute, you provide the type of model you want to use. Here we have model YOLO version 5. YOLO version 5 is the old architecture of YOLO, and the YOLO V8 and the 9 is I can say the last or new version of YOLO architecture. I will show you when you need to precise what type of model you want to use. So if you don't understand anything there, don't worry, I will show you an example and you will be very clear about that. Once you precise the type of your model you want to use, here you precise the model type. Here you precise the model, the weight of the model you want to use really. If you have previously, or you add previously a 2 or a 3 or 5 model, you will see all these models here, and each time you want to run a given task, you just click or you just select the model you want to use for your task. So let me close this. Before to leave these windows, you click on save to save your setting. If no, that will not be considered for the task you want to execute, you want to run. So I click save and I save. For a starting, I want to use a model version 5 because I am using Mega Detector version 5. That is a developed with YOLO architecture or YOLO architecture version 5. If you want to understand or to know when to use a YOLO version 5 or version 8 or 9, you come here just on this page. I already set some I already provide some information that can help you to understand or to know what how to provide a given I can say setting for your model choice. Detection, if you choose for example Mega Detector 5, you need to use a model YOLO version 9. If you are using, for example, Europe Deepfona version 1, you need to provide a model version 8. So in the type column, here we have the type, we have the model to use, and here we have the link to download this model to use. So that is all we need here. Let me come back here. Now, what we can start to do, let me save this setting here. What we need to do next now is to start by detection. Okay, detection, we will start by processing detection on a single image. To do that, we click on this icon, select an images. Okay, I click here and I go to my Explorer and select an images. Me, I have some images I get from a colleague, Rudy Sali from Cameroon. Okay, so I come here on this disk. Yeah, here I can select, for example, this first one. Okay, I have my images here. Okay, in this tab we have some information about the images, the GPS direction, image resolution, the model of the camera, and some information about latitude, longitude. So all this data is not really not necessarily important, but it's just to give you some idea about the image you have. Here you have a map. You can explore or display the position where this camera was installed. So if you want to access this position, once your image is selected, you click on just on this icon of globe. Okay, you click on show on map, and the image will appear here. You can remember the image is was taken in the Foundation Park in Cameroon. Here it is inference tab. Our output will appear here. If we proceed to detection or classification, you can browse to navigate and explore the results in this tab. Currently we have anything because we have not yet processed anything. Now what we need to do now is to click just on this icon, run single image. I click here. Once we click, you can see this message that lets you the running is in a processing. Note that the speed depends on your computer capacity, also in the model you are using. So you can get that, you can write that here. We have our output, we have the image path, the image name, the count. Count represents here the number of detection we have on our image. If I leave you, I ask you how many animals we have on this image. Maybe me, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I can say that. So I can say this output or this result is a correct for me. Okay. If you want to assess or to evaluate this output, you can click on view button here. If you click here, you can see your results appear where you have each animal detected. Also, you can change this once you proceed to the detection or classification. Let me show you something. Let me come back on my image folder where I have my images. Here you can see automatically this folder directory is created, and I have a images inside with detection with bounding boss. If I open the image, you can see that I have the bounding boss of detection. And if I scroll down, you can also see this file, a JSON file. If I open this JSON file, it is not necessary. I just want to show you something. You can see our detection results, the image path, the count, latitude, longitude of the camera trap, a mark of the camera, the date where when this camera was, this image was taken, and at which time. Here is the time in radian. What I want to show you really is how we can process to change, to edit the output. So if I come here, you can remark that I had this option, edit. When we right click on this edit button, you will not be able to change anything here. So if you want to change the value or the count, maybe the models was incorrectly classified or detect the number of animals you have on image. If you want to change, you click on edit button, okay, and you change the value here. For example, I can put 6 and I apply. You can remark here, change applied. If you do a mistake, you will get an error. I will show you. I will do something intentionally and show you the message you can get. If I come back here again, you can see that my change is automatically applied on my detection. So this is just a simple way to show you how you can edit output of detection or classification. That is how we can process to detect to just test our model. Next, what we can do is to process to detection on a single folder. To do that, let me come here and do something. Let me remove this output, remove this file of detection. I create a folder. I can call that, for example, for test, and I can just select 3 images here, and I drag and drop inside this folder. So here I have now a folder. If I want to process a folder, I come just here and I change my setting. So I come in inference parameters and I click on run on main directory. This means that I want to process any images I have in my directory. Okay, I leave all this option by default. I leave because I want to process it. I want to run a detection and I want to use a YOLO 5, and I already provide my model. So I click just on save. Okay, and now instead to provide a file path here or an image path here, I provide a folder that contains my images. Okay, so I click here and I select I browse to select this folder for test. I select and I click now on this button or icon, run folders. Okay, I click on this. So let's wait some time to finish this with processes. So you can see here completed successfully. This means that my process or my detection is done successfully, and here you can see the number of I can say the step or the level of processing. Note that this is very important if you have a lot of images. Here I am running on just 4 images, so you will not very benefit from this a possibility of this a feature of the class. If you have many images, you can very enjoy this option. But in this context, I just want to show you how you can process. Now here we have our original image. Okay, we have our original image. If I click on images, you can see the result here. Automatically the result change here, and I can navigate to see. If also you want to check the result of detection, you come in this folder detection created, and you browse. You click on images, each images, and you can see the results. The same thing if you want to. Let me open again my folder and show you for this time the JSON file you have. For test, I am inside the for test or a folder. Okay, I open the detection JSON. You can see here I have all my output in detection format. Okay, I have the value here. If for example I want to change this value, I suppose that, let me come back again in the class interface. I suppose that here I have more than one images in my model, and classify and misidentify an animal. I can also put in edit, okay, and I change the value here. I can put on 2 or 3, and I apply the change. If I come again here, you can remark that, let me open, I can remark that I have now 3 instead of 1. So that is how you can proceed to detect on a single folder. If you are satisfied about your detection result, now you can process to build a table to get a report in CSV format, because dispose a JSON can be difficult for some people to handle or to use this result or this report. So what you need to do here is to click on this icon, okay. That help you to build a table from your JSON report. You click just here, and you can get this message: table built successfully and saved at this address. I click OK, and if I come here, I have my images here. You can remark that inside my Fortes document, or I say document, a directory, I have this CSV file. If I open, let me show you the content. You can remark that I have my images, path, image name, count, number of animal by images, latitude, longitude of a camera trap, altitude of a camera trap, mark of a camera, and the date here. Dates here, let me just, the dates here, time, and the time in radians. So that is the report of your detection when you run on a single directory or a single folder. Next, I will show you how can you process detection on multiple folder. And in this context, it is mainly when you have a real project that all of your file or media are structured like project, station, and pages. That is a very, very important structure that helps you to run the detection even if you have not a classification model available that can recognize the images or pages on your images. So I will teach you how you can process, how you can organize your data to run on a multiple folder. So to do that, let me close Excel, and I don't want to say up, or I close all Explorer. Let me come back again. Now here I can create a folder. Let me I think I can delete this this folder. I don't need more. Oh, unfortunately I cannot delete because it is open in the class. Okay, what I can do is to, let me create another folder. I can call this my project. Oh, what I am writing, my keyboard is in French. My project. Okay, my project. Okay, inside my project I need all station of my camera. If I have I am working on a study area in a given reserve, I have my project, and inside my reserve or my study area or conservation area, I have many stations. Me, I just want to create a one station. I can call that station A, or maybe station B. Let me create a second station B. Okay, now inside station A, I have my all species name. Species, I can say species A. Okay, species A, species B, for example. I can copy this and come into station B and paste here. Now what I need to do is to provide some media my camera installed at this station take for me. Okay, so let me come back here. I prefer open another Windows, put some images media in this switches folder. I can copy all this and come here up my project station A. For example, here in switches A, I have these images. For example, I can copy just two here and paste here. I just want to show you how you can get your folder organized for detection. Here in this session, I have two. Let me copy another images. So I come here, as you can select this, all this. Okay, I up right station B here. I paste some images here. Let me select just 3 images here. Note that I am just organizing my folder or my project structure to show you how you can run the class on a real project. I precise again that that is my recommended project organization. If you are working on a real project, please try to have a project, a main folder called project, maybe project study. I don't know what the name you want to give to your project, but you pay attention that you have a folder called your project, okay, and you have all station inside this project, and inside each station now we have all switches that you have in your study area. You can do that, and some switches will not have images or media when you finish your study. That is not a problem, but this is a good approach I recommend to use. That helps you to have something like this, okay. So when we finish this, we can use the class on this project. The advantage to organize this project like this in that the class will run on this structure to construct for you a data set or database that where you have the station, a species name. Okay, now let me come back here. I change just my settings option. I click on inference parameters, and instead to check this run on main directory, me in this context or in this case, I want to run on a project, not in a main directory. Okay, so I uncheck this and I click again save. Now I click on this button or icon, select directory, and I browse, and I select my project, just this, okay, and I click on select folder. So here I have my station, all station inside my project, okay, and I click just on run, this icon. So once the detection is done, you can remark that here I have all detection executed, okay. And if you want to get also a table or dataset for your running, you just need to click on this icon, construct table from detection classification. Before that, let me show you our results. I have here species A, my species, and I have in each folder of species has a detection result. Okay, here also, here you can see, okay, I have my detection. Again, you can edit. If you click on an image, you will mark that it is not correctly or detection is not correctly done. You can click on edit and change the result, the change or edit what you want to hear, and then you click on apply. If you do a mistake, maybe let me show you. I can put in edit mode, and I can remove, for example, this, and I will try to apply. You can remark, you will get this error. So the edit is very sensible. So edit is a very sensitive. Okay, so pay very attention about what you do here. Let me do Control Z to close, and I do apply. You can see my edit is applied successfully. So that is all we need. Now I can construct or build a table from this detection or this result. I click just on this icon, okay, and also you can remark that I have table built successfully and saved at this address, my project. I click OK, and if I come back here, my project, you can remark here I have a detection. I open this file. And here you can remark there are a little change. We have here a station, okay, and here we have a switches. If I provide a real name of each folder, for example, I give a real name of a switches, you will get this all these name. For me, that is a really interesting approach. Just the disadvantage of this approach is that if you have an image that has multiple switches, it become a very challenging to use this approach. But in real case, in real projects, generally we have a single switches by image, unless you install your camera at a position where multiple switches come, maybe for I can say for breeding or for another activity. In this case, you can have an image that has multiple switches. If no, this approach works in most cases. Okay, so this is a how you can process to run detection on one images, a folder or multiple folder. Now, let me precise something. What we do so far, you can also change a model. Personally, I recommend to use at this stage. You can see that we are using Mega Detector version. Let me resize. Yeah, we are using Mega Detector version 5. Okay, beta for our detection task. If you want to use another model, for example, the last version of Mega Detector, I already showed you how you can access this model here. I leave the link in the description section of the video. You can download Mega Detector version 5. This version it must be done a last preview version, okay? But I will not cover this. If you want to test on your side, try to download and add this model or provide this model to the class here. You provide here model. You add. Okay, me I have already this. Here I can add this model, but I don't want to use. Okay, if I come here again, show model, you can see that I have my model using. And if I want to use the model for a detection, I can come here, just a change that I want to use model this model YOLO V8 or 9, and I can come here and change the model and click on save. Okay, so that is what we need to do with for detection. So next we will see how you can run on classification. For classification, what we've done so far is the same. Okay, just what we need to change is the model we want to use for classification. But note that I am not sure that the model we are available for use is not in most cases suitable for our project, just because this model was not training to detect or to recognize, okay, to classify correctly our species. It is why the last approach I show you to run detection on multiple folder is very important. But let me show you just how it works. That can help you to run on your real project when you are sure that your detection or your species you have on your images is available on your model. Okay, so let me clean a little bit this my project. My project, I have here station A. Let me delete this, all this species A. I don't need this anymore. Same thing for station A. Okay, station A, I delete. Station B. Okay, now what we need to do, I can also delete this. Okay, let me come back here. To proceed to classification, we need to use a classification model. But at this stage, we have not a classification model. You can use each time this, I can say this page to download the model of your choice. But let me precise something. At present, I have not yet include the classification model based on YOLO V8 and 9. So if you want to present classification, you can just use the model based on YOLO architecture 5. I will implement in the future to let you use, for example, this model. You cannot use this at this time. You cannot use, for example, this model because I have not yet implemented the classification for YOLO architecture 8. If you take a model of your choice, you can click here, okay, to see a valuable animal or a possible animal or species your model can detect. If I take this model, for example, Namibia DZ, we have all these species available. The model can recognize. Okay, all these species the model can recognize. But I precise again, I have not yet implemented YOLO V8 for classification task. At this stage, at present, we have only YOLO V5 for classification. So to do that, we can download. Now what we can do is to download the so I have some model for classification here. Okay, let me add this model to the class. I click on I can cancel any more because I don't need that. I can add another model for classification. I have already this model, for example, AI for Amazon classification, snapshot Serengeti for classification. All these are usable for classification, and all these are model developed on YOLO V5 architecture. I can use just one here to show you what we can do. So I add this model for classification. Now I come back here and I change my setting. I select here classification, and I precise that I am using YOLO V5, okay, because this one, this model is for classification, and the train for on YOLO V5 architecture. Now, for YOLO V5, you need to provide a model for detection, okay, and a model for classification. That is not the case when you want to run on YOLO, a model of YOLO V8 or 9, okay. Since I am using YOLO model training on YOLO V5, I must provide these two options. What model I want to use for detection? I precise here mega detector. Okay, I want to use this model for detection. Once the detection is done, the result will be provided to this model, okay, for classification. So I select this model for classification and I click on save. Now let me select just an image. Yeah, in this case I can run on a folder to go more fast. Let me select forest. Okay, I select this folder and I click on this. So I want to process the classification of these images. Okay, and I click just on run folders. Okay, here you can remark this error. Choose a directory with structure. You see, because I want to run my detection or my classification excuse on a folder, but in my setting here, you can remark that I don't check this option. So the class is waiting for me to have a structure, a project, station, and species. That is what I have. I don't have here. Okay, so be sure that you for each activity or each task you provide correctly the different setting you want. There's a table setting. Okay, so I check this again, run on main directory, and I save, and I click again on run folder. I have here completed successfully, and here you can really remark that I have a detection folder. If I click here, you can remark that my model is not able to recognize this species correctly, so it is classified into other group. Other, I have in my inference tape here, all information about the detection. I have buffalo. I have what species Gazelle. So you can clearly remark that this is a false classification just because the model I am using is not suitable for my project. Okay, it is why I was saying if you want to use classification model, be sure that all images or all species you have on your media are available in your model you want to use for classification. If no, I prefer to use detection and restructure your project like project, station, and species. Okay. Well, the last thing I want to show you is once you finish your detection or classification, maybe you need to classify or to split your detection into group where we have at least one detection and to group that we have any detection or a blank empty images. To do that, you just need to click on this icon. Okay, if you click here, you can see that I have two folders created automatically, and inside each folder I have has target. This means that this folder has at least one detection, and no detection, no target will remark that inside this you will have all images where we have any detection or classification. That is just a way for you to clean your data, to have a to remove all images or not useful images for you, and keep all images that are at least one detection or one animal or one species for your project. This three hashtag not for aesthetic. If you delete, the save will be run unsuccessfully. If I change, for example, and I do something here, you can get an error. So be sure you have a three hashtag here, and you don't remove any hashtag before to click on apply. Okay, that's just all. That is what I want to show you about the class for use detection, classification, a single detection principle, and more. If you have any feedback, suggestion, or correction, feel free to do that. If you have any issues, go to GitHub repository of the class and create an issue and precise what's wrong, what is run bad or wrong, and I will see how I can assist you or help you to use the class for your project. Thank you.